All right. I think I'm now live. Sounds like it. Yes, I'm on here live. So, welcome to another program of Clear Blue Radiance. And, excuse me, I am the host, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. This wonderful podcast, Clear Blue Radiance, has been affiliated with Resident Essentials, which is now Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. And so this is the Resident Essentials YouTube channel, and I'm on live right now. I am a spiritual counselor, and I've been one for over 40 plus years. I enjoy helping people such as yourself gain greater clarity in your life and define your purpose. Or for some of you, redefine your purpose. The older we get, the more we know, the more we understand. So, I'm going to give you the shorter title because it's quite long, or maybe I could type it all in here if you bear with me in a minute. The title is How to Marry the Mind and Heart. That's the short title. The full version is for direct communication and clear. Actually, okay, it's how to marry the mind and the heart for direct connection. That's what I really should be saying. Hi there, Jackie. I am totally revved up, as my last name says. What a night. Last night it jumped off really well with a few students. And this group of students, they're just like you guys. They want to know, they want to know, they want to know. So today is our opportunity. This is actually a repeat. I did this particular topic way back on Thursday, October the 13th of 2022. And because I was busy racing about today, I needed to really have more time in putting this together. And so now I have that opportunity. Also, one of the things I want to mention here is that often there's calls for brief lessons, techniques, things of that nature that anyone could put to use for themselves. So, this topic is how to marry the mind and heart for direct connections and clear communication. Now, there are many methods of doing that. People can do this by taking up art classes, art appreciation classes. That usually helps you redefine, your connection between the heart and mind, or to learn how to play an instrument. And once you get adept enough at playing an instrument, as all music teachers will tell you, once they put the sheet music in front of you, then you play what you see. You actually count it out to yourself or count it out loud, whatever your place is, whether it's the stand up bass, upright bass, or bass guitar, or acoustic, or piano, or drums. You have to count out each measure to yourself. Once you can memorize basically what you're doing and where to put the accents and so forth, the next step is to go for feeling. That's why if you see jazz musicians, classical musicians, they really get into the music, right? Because they're putting their heart into it and they have made a connection between the mood of the music, their heart in the music, and the way they think about how that music is being expressed. And that's very important. The same happens if you are an artist. If you're an artist, when you're painting, you have wide brush strokes, medium brush strokes, refined brush strokes. You might have, if you're doing a drawing, you have hashing or shading. So you have these different things to show shadow, shape, and form of an object or place or a person. As an artist, if you're using color, that's when you get an opportunity to really express your deep awareness of the interaction of colors, which creates mood and atmosphere, right? If you are a sculptor, someone who's working with wood, you don't get to express that right away. You have to express the basic, whatever that might be. Same with someone who's using clay, right? It takes a while to get the head or the full body into place. And whether it's 18 inches or 6 feet, it takes time to get it. If something is large, either you have to make it detailed or no detail whatsoever. That's how, as an artist, how you have to work something to perfection for yourself. If you are a choreographer has to set the mood and the pace through the body movement, body language, and how they perform each part of the choreographed dance, whether it's modern dance, classical dance, even a tap dancer. Many of you have seen some of the old tap dancers, right? Bunny and all those people, Sandman, Sims, right up to the younger ones, which were Hines, and Dad, like Gregory Hines and Maurice Hines. And then Gregory Hines went off on his own. And what did he do? He got away from standard tap dancing to listening to the sounds in the street, the sounds, the echoes, cars. So he began to manipulate everything that he heard and he began to interpret it into a form of tap dance. And the same he did with Savion Glover from Newark, New Jersey. He learned to do that. So I express this because it is about marrying the mind and the heart. So when someone is being creative, you are actually stepping into learning how to make a direct connection. So often, as a speaker, if you're a motivational speaker, many people like to be coaches. They can, crack a joke here and there. But what is more important is, can they put the idea forward? Now, I'm not a person who's really that articulate with, even with my diction. Sometimes I slur a word here or there, but because I enjoy the topic, whether it's numerology or talking about prayer, creating your own prayer, creating and writing an affirmative prayer, affirmation or a decree, or just meditation, I get excited. And excitement is fuel, it's energy, it's emotional energy, and it puts the mental energy into gear as well if the mental energy is not there. The mental energy is just your awareness, thought wise, of what you're trying to accomplish through words and the audience that you're talking to, that you're delivering the message to. But if you're good at what you do, you don't get worried about how the audience is going to take it. What you're going to do is you're going to get excited because you're delivering a message. And you're not just delivering a message, you're teaching, your willingness to teach the message. Or better yet, hi there, Golden Timeline. And Jackie, again, it's best to know your subject matter. You can know your audience, but you may not get them to respond. So it's up to you as the teacher and the messenger to get excited about delivering the message. And the way you do that is make people relaxed. That's why I've studied, different. I'm not even a member. I guess I should be a member of the National Speakers Society or Association or organization. But I've watched enough people, especially Les Brown. I took notes from Les Brown. I took notes from Michael Bernard Beckwith. I took notes from Reverend Ike, to how everybody delivered their message or their teaching. One, they definitely had to know it, but two, they had to really enjoy it. So maybe number two is number one. Enjoy the subject matter. What excites the mind? So when it gets to marry the mind and the heart for direct connection, that means you got to bring them together. I like to think of it this way. I always think of it as, I could do it through meditation. I could bring it around through the concept of sports or martial arts, Tai Chi. Um, but here's one thing that I've noticed: the mind is the totality of faculties that we use to steer our way through life, such as the will, memory, imagination, thought, and how we sense things. Because you can sense through your mind. You're not feeling, you're sensing. In other words, you're seeking with your mind where something energy is or where you can deposit energy. The heart, in which I'm speaking, is the metaphysical, spiritual part of us. That's the heart chakra that allows us to engage in life and beyond. Both allow us to tune into whatever is happening and whatever we are doing in life. Now, usually on a more down to earth level, we converse with many people. You converse with people your age, older, younger, children, co-workers, people you see every day in your neighborhood, or if you're in school, your peers and so forth. What I've noticed for a long period of time is that you must, whatever you are thinking, I'll put it this way: whatever you are thinking, you must feel it in your heart. That's what people say, you have to believe it. But it's greater than belief. Like if I say that I'm excited today, I want to be able to feel that vibration coming up out of my physical heart. And I could put that energy out, I could disperse that energy, I could spread that, layer that energy out through what is called the energetic heart chakra. Well, the heart itself is constantly pumping emotional magnetic energy, but also electric energy at the same time. It's pushing it through your bloodstream. And from your bloodstream, it's pushing it up into the intrinsic energy. This is the energy that you sense or feel, known as chi, chi, ki, ki, or prana, prana. Or if you're dealing with pyramid, pranic pyramids, that's orgon. So that's the energy that's inherent in everything. It's in you, it's in everything that is alive. Now, we might say rocks aren't alive. Well, as far as we know, we're looking at them, they seem to be stabilized. We're the ones moving it around. But if you scrape some of that dirt or sand off there, you will pick up some kind of DNA structure inside that rock. You'll pick up everybody else's that has ever touched it. You'll pick up the blueprint of nature itself, because everything has a blueprint. Everything has a fingerprint connected to it. So often when we are out and about speaking, are we talking from our heart or are we talking from the mind? A lot of people, when they're teaching, they don't want you to get emotional, so they say. They want you staying in the air box, to be very analytical with no emotions behind it. Well, we know what that usually uh, pushes one into doing: too much mental activity, too much ways of trying to figure something out with all the faculties that you have in your brain actually brings you to the wall of confusion, chaos, and self destruction. Why? Because there's no emotional energy in there helping to fuel what you're thinking about. Also, that kind of energy says you don't have any emotional or water temperament or psychic or intuitive nature involved, then somehow you get lost. You get lost in the mix because you can't figure out what it is that you really need to do All you can do is think about it, analyze it to death, so to speak, which is over analyzing, and then sometime missing your mark. So often, this particular topic says we have to marry the mind and the heart directly together. So I always used to tell people, you hear people say what you mean, right? Whatever you're thinking that you want to say, you have to, in your heart, deep down in your heart, not just believe it, but feel it to be true. I was just talking to, I think it was Michelle the other day, and we were talking, we were laughing about, people when they curse a lot. And she reminded me that it was from an article that I read online or in a magazine. I think it was a Psychology Today magazine many years ago. Said people who curse, they're actually very intelligent. Why? Because they have a strong fire, a strong enthusiasm about life. They're already inquisitive. And usually they get to the point of something. They get into the heart of a situation, the heart of a book, a movie. They're intrigued by everything that they see going on. Where someone else might be more mental, doesn't curse, and therefore is holding back. In other words, they're not allowing themselves to feel what's really going on. They're not allowing themselves to read between the lines or read behind the lines. Like if the person is saying something, are they delivering that message with physical action? Often, if you get involved, yes. So, what happens is when people are gathered together, you see it all the time in political discussions or just regular debates. Doesn't have to be about politics. It could be about anything. Like guys, get together at a sports bar and they're arguing about one team to the next team, and if it's really worth to watch it, the games, right? So what happens is they get very emotional about the game, not just mental. They're involved in the game as if they were at the stadium watching the game. Same with basketball, same with baseball. They're glued to the TV set. They feel like they are part of the game. The thing is, are they thinking about the game or are they feeling the game? It's two different things. Are they thinking about what they have to do? Think of this guy, young guy in Baltimore. I like him. Baltimore Ravens football, Lamar Jackson. They're trying to teach him to be in the pocket, stay in the pocket, and look at his alternative routes, what's being offered by his different backs or receivers. But prior to that, he was a guy that if he didn't see anything open, he'd run. If he felt like he had to run, he'd run. And most of the time, he gained more yardage running than most of the halfbacks and fullbacks. So he has a lot of intuition going on. In fact, his birthday, I found out, he's born under the sign of Capricorn. He's born January the 7th. When he was in high school in Florida as a quarterback, he wore the number 7. I kind of wonder if he or his mom are into numerology and astrology, because the number that he is wearing now, that he wore in college in Louisville, Kentucky, is the number 8. And we know the number 8 is Saturn, that what rules Capricorn, and he's a Capricorn. He's born in the year 1977. That's the universal 8 year. So he's born in the first month, and he's born in the 8th year. That's a 9, and he's born on the 7th day. That's a 16, which is a 7. So he's very analytical and he's very emotional at the same time. He's tuning into everything, and yet he's trying to do his best to stay grounded. This is important. Whenever you're engaging your thoughts with your heart, we are learning, and many of the scientists have been telling us now that our ancestors knew from a long time ago. All ancestors all over the world, all civilizations, they already knew the heart was important. They already knew this heart could radiate a lot of energy around them, electrical impulse and emotional and magnetic and mental. They knew that already. But we smart ones up here in the present tense in the future, we're too busy over analyzing stuff. But they have realized that out of the trillions of cells in our body, each one of those cells in our body is known to contain 1.4, I believe 1.4 volts, or it could be milliamps. It could be a little less. But the bottom line is this: if a cell is thriving, let's say at 1.4 volts, we can literally light up a room if we control the way we thought and control the way we are thinking. And if we exercise our minds enough, we could radiate that much light. There are people who, as they say, eat the sun. Eating the sun means they stand and they sun gaze. I did it for a little while in 2015 and 2016 with a group of people online. And they would say, meditate within the first 20 minutes when you see the sunrise. So that means you're not waiting for the sun to get up over the mountains, over the horizons, but you can see the sky lit, right? So it's always an orange gold light. That's what you're gazing into. And you're absorbing all of that energy through your eyes. And eventually it gets down deep into your body. And I tell you some of the things that it has done. See this little skin tag there? I used to have a wicked skin tag. It used to be really thin and long and painful. When I would sun gaze on a regular basis, early morning before the sun hits. If they tell you that the sun will rise at 7:20, you have to be outside preparing to gaze upon the sun at 7. Why? Because you need that much time to feel that golden orange light hit your pores of your skin and your face. And after about 6 months of doing that, the skin tag actually shrunk almost to like a little speck or a dot on my face, which is proof that all those x-rays, a certain amount of x-rays out of the sunlight during that time, is very healing for the skin, very healing for the nerve system and the sympathetic nerve system. Same way, if you can only sun gaze at night, then you have to pick the last 20, 30 minutes before it gets to disappearing over the horizon. Why? The colors are golden, orange, and yellow again. Very soothing for the skin, very soothing for your mind, really relaxes your body, and also strengthens your eyes. So we know in order to marry the mind to the body, meditation is one of the best ways to do that. Whether you're in group form or solo form, you want to meditate. Whether you do it from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. or 2 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. or right about now, depending on where you are in the world. You have these designated times when chi is stronger in certain parts of your body. At nighttime, between 3 a.m. and 5 p.m., lung chi is the strongest, the chi in the lungs. That means the passageways are a lot clearer in the bronchial tubes. You can get a lot more energy compacted into your bronchial tubes, into your lungs at that time of the day, more so than 12 hours earlier. So there's certain things that you can utilize that helps you marry your mind to your heart. We do it all the time. We think about something that we want long and hard. And when we finally think about what it is that we want, then we start to work toward that goal. Maybe you're buying a house, maybe you're buying a car, so you start saving up. And then after while you're busy saving that money so you can buy a car, you also have to check the newspapers, go online. Or maybe if you're close enough to a car dealership, check out the used vehicles, check out the new vehicles, test drive them. Once you get that energy going inside your body, it's literally smelling the leather, you're feeling everything about the car or the SUV that you want. You start dreaming about it, literally salivating over it, because you can envision yourself driving that particular car. You can see yourself doing everything that you want to do, moving somebody, moving yourself, moving your children, grocery shopping, hauling big supplies because maybe you're going to renovate a part of your home or you're going to fix up your yard. There's so much you can do, right? But that's the thinking process. You have to engage your emotions with the thoughts. Because if you do that, what you're actually feeling can help fuel the situation and then cause it to expand like a mushroom, explosion up and down, raining all thoughts and ideas as seeds. And those seed thoughts become action images in your mind. The next thing you do know is that you are performing. You're doing exactly what you thought about and exactly what you felt. That's why the late Reverend Ike says, let the feeling get the blessing. Yes, it's the same thing. You could be awake at that time because it is considered nighttime. And as you gaze upon that particular area, you are communicating. Now, people say if you have a high powered telescope, you can tell if there's some communication going on. People usually say, well, they see it twinkling. That's one way. But here's another way you actually feel it. Now, you can look at the works of Stephen Greer. His last name is Greer. His father was involved in a lot of the NASA projects, and he himself got involved with creating a meditation to connect with ET activity. If you look him up, he's actually done it. He brings a group of people, I think he lives in Nevada or Arizona, and he brings them out to a certain area, and they are out there at night, and they're out there during the daytime, but they're learning how to communicate with the extraterrestrial individuals flying throughout the galaxy. And what they have experienced is when they make that connection, there's an immediate response. When they make that connection, there's an immediate response. So it's doable. You just have to be consistent. The more consistent that you are, and along with your desire to be consistent, you have to be very patient. Because after all, they actually know you better than you know yourself. And sometimes you might switch up because you're thinking something's not working or something doesn't feel right. But they don't do that. They tune in, they know. That's why they're advanced. They can be so many light years away and feel us. And because they can feel us, they can tune into us. So again, there's so many ways in which you can open yourself up. And this is why, sometimes eating properly helps. On another level, sleeping longer hours. I'm one who never does. I should do it more often. There's taking short naps during the daytime if possible. Taking them Before you sit down and have a meal, you want to dissipate all that energy from work, let it all go, then do it, then eat, then meditate, then shower, take a bath, whatever you need to do to relax the rest of the body. These things are important. You can gaze not only upon the star constellations, plants, insects, stones, many things, even a candle flame. All these things help strengthen your eyes. And when you're stargazing, you have to take your time with the level of deep breathing that you're going to use. And you have to sometimes decide if this is a waltz kind of breathing technique. Is it definitely a full four or eight? What am I doing here? You have to like experiment to find out which is the best one, best system that fits you. Then you don't pause, you go right into it. And of course, you keep a journal. All experiences are good experiences, even those that where there's no response. Or you're doing something at home and you come home after a long walk, or being out at night stargazing, you come back and you got an answer. You have an answer. Might get a letter, might get a note. Someone else might be a neighbor that's fully aware of these things like you are, and that no neighbor gets that note to you. So now you have a like the buddy system. This is important because we have to learn how to keep the mind clear, absent from the ego personality side. We have to keep that mind absent from worry and anxiety. We have to keep that mind off of what do I think my neighbors are doing? Are my neighbors checking me today? Am I checking them? What's going on? All these things come into play. And it's all highly important because whatever you're doing or building here on earth eventually must reflect what you're gazing into from above. So you have to set out with like a list of something that you want to accomplish. Then you have to go forward and honor that thought that you got. And if there was a strong gut feeling, honor that. And then allow your mind to go into a state of meditation so you can figure that out. That's important because you're going to want to be able to figure out what incarnation is going on around you. And this is why the 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. is one of the best times to stargaze and meditate, indoor, outdoor, because everything seems to be on that same frequency. Everything. Your neighborhood, cats, dogs, feathered ones. Somehow there's a greater alignment and a greater attunement that's actually going on. But you who gazes into those things or gazes upon things, you must be absolutely clear for your reason for doing it, your purpose, your desire has to be clear. And then you have other parts of yourself that must be clear. It's all important. The more you can do, the better you shall be. That's why I always say meditate daily, if not 2 or 3 times a day, at least when you get up in the morning or before you go to sleep at night. Use a shorter version in the morning and a longer version at night while you're establishing energy fields around you. And eventually, if they're strong enough, Others will see it, others will feel it. That's highly important. Hold on a second, folks. I got to let somebody in. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming.
So
I'm glad you came on podcasting.
that's all right.
Hit the open areas and you hit the bedroom. You can get around the living room.
Alrighty. Are you having any issues at all?
No,
Good.
that's because you guys got good intentions. Nature listens to you.
Yep.
You can get behind the door on the other side. On the wall. And, you can hit around there.
Alrighty.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Have a good weekend.
You're welcome. You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Somehow I knew that the guy was coming. I was going to try to end the program, and something said, "Don't end the program." Woo! And look what I got. Here it is. Moldavite with 3 strips of selenite sitting on silver. Gorgeous. When you hold this thing up to the light, there's an eye in the middle of this moldavite. Well, now I can relax and get back to my work. One of the things that's highly important when you're dealing in the spiritual world and the metaphysical, spiritual actually is you're talking about light. And every being, every living thing is speaking light all the time. We're constantly communicating. So it's important to marry the mind and the heart because you want to create balance. When you're using both, you're creating wholeness. Now, here's another concept of this. Once you get into meditation, or you're a person that prays a lot, or you're excellent with the numbers, numerology, or astrology, whatever it is, dowsing, things of those nature. What's highly important is that everything becomes a heartbeat. Everything is a mind. Everything can think. And the level of intuition steps and leans into something called telepathy. So when people like Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer, out there in Nevada and Arizona and places like that, and they're aware of New Mexico, and they're out there in a circle during the daytime, they're also communicating at night because they want to see. What's happening is they're having a telepathic communication, which means the intuition is rapid fire on a much higher frequency, and so are the emotions. And this is important because everybody always thinks, if many of us don't, that we're the only ones who could think, we're the only ones who could feel, we're the only ones who have sensations. No, everything does. You can see it with nature. Bugs have it. Insects have it. Plants have it. Water has it. This is what I was talking about in my class last night a little bit. Water has consciousness. Isaru Moto, the Japanese scientist, did that with water. And I have one of his books over here. It's called The Hidden Messages of Water. Why? Because if you can put a thought out that's absolutely clear and you can connect your emotional energy with it, the water molecules respond. The molecular structure of water responds. It can become highly symmetrical, highly balanced. And then they take a drop of that water and they put it on a plate and they look at it through a microscope. Now, usually what they see is high symmetry of a crystal of water. High symmetry, highly balanced of water. And it's usually hitting a sacred geometrical shape, form, pattern. But if you're upset and if you're angry enough or imbalanced enough through anger, worry, anxiety, great stress, then that water can change into something that is imbalanced, asymmetrical, as we would say, fuzzy, not showing distinctively itself, the expression. It might show jaggedness instead of roundedness. And imagine if that's happening to the water outside of you, if you can do that. Imagine what the water on the inside, the liquid on the inside of the body is doing. Imagine what the organs are trying to do year after year after year. They say, I think Dr. Joseph Dispenza may have said this, is that it takes approximately 11 months for cells that are reproducing in a certain area of your body to heal itself. 11 months. And you might say, well, I got to wait that long? Yeah, because the body is going through things. The skin is going through changes. And we are the ones that are putting the stress on the body through worry, through anxiety. And then one moment we're very happy, and the next moment we're not. Yes, water is the ultimate conductor of energy. So, with that being true, we got to drink lots of water. Put that water in the body and energize it. The more water in the body, the more fluid your thoughts and feelings will be. As they say, the skin will adapt, will change, it'll get better. But here's the thing: when you're marrying the mind to the heart, there's a communication that's going on. It's not just directly connecting with it; it's being clear. So that's important. If you can be clear, absolutely clear, which means you're on one thought, one mental idea, one emotional element, nothing more, nothing less, then that which you are gathering together, the forces of nature gathering together, everything is listening. Everything that we move through in your home, in the place where you work, you are leaving an energetic imprint. There's no accidents that, the police staff and all of them, detectives, CIA, FBI, take your palm print, hold handprint, right? And feet, if they can. Hospitals do it, right? You think, how come they're not just doing a baby's hand, they're printing off the feet too. Why? Because there's a certain signature in those feet that should remain as you get older. There is great significance about that. That's a message that your body is carrying all the time. And if you can get to that point where, let's say, if you are stargazing, if you get to that point where you are wide open, remember in the book that I wrote, The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am, he said in the beginning chapters, you are the open door. You are the gateway. Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith says it this way: life isn't happening to you, life is happening through you. I'll say that again. He says, life is not happening to you, life is happening through you, which means this entire muscle system, bone, skeletal system, nerve system, blood system, ligament system, all of this stuff is communicating from the inside out. It's constantly reproducing itself and repeating energy at a fast paced frequency. And whatever is around us usually matches our vibration. We may not be aware of that though, but you can develop yourself in such a way so that you are on the same page with everything else. Everything else is in nature is on the same page with us. We don't think of it because we have scrunched ourselves down so tiny with an idea in our little brains. We have forgotten that this brain constantly reproduces synapses and folds. Brain is supposed to get bigger, which means if you're using the right amount of energetic water or energetic vegetables, you name it, however you're choosing to eat, if you're balancing all of that with your pure thoughts and pure feelings, everything will change. In other words, if I work at this enough, I could reverse my aging. Foods help, nutrients help, but my thoughts sure do help. How I feel about myself definitely helps. If I'm not pushing myself to that limit, then I'm not allowing myself to liberate the mind and liberate the body. We have to liberate the mind and liberate the body in order to feel what freedom is actually like. If you can free your own mind, then it doesn't matter if someone imprisoned you. You don't let the imprisonment destroy who you are, and you maintain who you are, and you get stronger from within yourself. Then you are free. Free here and free here. You're letting this dance naturally take place. Then you are handling all the shifts that you can imagine that are going on, the more pronounced shifting and the very subtle shifting that you see. So, what you want to be able to do, I want to give you an exercise. And you can do this indoors or outdoors. You want to pick something that is a part of nature, a tree, a plant, shrubbery, grass, but more likely a plant. And I want you to begin to gaze upon that plant and keep breathing as you gaze. Let the sensation that you pick up in your body, see if you can interpret, see if you can describe that sensation. That's very important. Because if you can describe that sensation down to the minutest form of it, of its being expressed in you, then it's almost the same as you watching TV with the volume on four or the volume on two, or or the TV is silenced, but you can still see the activity. We have to become like our nature buddies, like ants and bees and all of them, crocodiles and bears, and eagles. We have to become like them. They seem to know and they can think within their body where they are at any given point. They have to. They're able to feed on other insects. How do they know how to do that? We don't see them read a book. It's innate. It's already planted on the inside of their DNA of who they are. This is why they say instincts kick in. Instincts kick in. Because when instincts kick in, you are definitely about to arrive at the target. Or if you need to get out of an ill will situation, a dangerous situation, because you're plugged into the greater network, you hear and feel your heart moving you around. and moves you out of harm's way. So, in essence, the marrying of the mind to the heart is a good thing, but it is a constant thing. It's not the end all. Even if you do it, you have to now what? Maintain it with the same kind of natural breathing that you're doing, natural flow, natural movement. We know one thing for sure: if you're too angry, or if you're around people who are too angry, or if someone is trying to make you a victim of their um, narcissistic behavior, then eventually you develop what is called a hardened heart. Just like a person drinks too much, they harden the liver and they experience what is called sclerosis of the liver. So the liver gets hard and it shrivels, and the ducts within the liver cannot pull anything through. Hi there, Barbara. So it is important to understand that it is up to each one of us to create a bridge. Now, what would be the bridge between your entire brain and your heart? One is your nostrils. Two is your speaking, your ability to have clear audience, where in the brow, from deep inside with the pineal gland, you begin to have that all seeing eye effect, all knowing effect, clairvoyant, clearly see light and energy. So that's what you're striving to do. You're striving to get to a point where you become one with the energy field. When you become one with the energy field, you no longer feel like you're some endangered species. You're not feeling left out. You're not feeling someone directing anger at you because with your energy flourishing out and pulsating in and out all the time, it's actually blocking all that negativity. That's what you want to be able to do. Ward off, block off, keep negativity from dropping into your life. Again, Dr. Michael Beckwith said, life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Why? Because you have a divine consciousness that can plug into every element within the universe, every element on the earth, and every element in between. Your body will give you a signal if you're in the wrong place at the right time. Let me say that this way: if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, your body will send you a signal. Your body is a whole nother brain to itself and a heart system to itself. It'll give you a signal. Don't go in there. I know you have a craving for some sushi. Don't go over there. There's accidents around that place. There's people being pickpocketed. There's some kind of danger imminent there. Or you just might come in on a bad day when the chef is having a real bad day. You're not going to want to eat someone else's negativity implanted in the food. You're not going to want to do that. So you have to figure out, how am I going to marry the mind and my heart? And the best answer is meditation. You have to establish your meditative time zone. When is the best time for you? Like when Saturdays roll around, if you're not working on Saturdays, can you meditate? If you're sharing a house with a life partner, mate, or children, are they going to let you meditate? You've got a cat and dog in there, are they going to let you meditate? We all have to make some changes where we can make those changes at. That's important. We can't take on other people's stuff. I heard something the other day, very important. They said if you got in an argument, an intense argument with a person, and when this was told to me, I realized the thing that happened to me back in September, I did the right thing. And what was that? I chose not to get angry back at the person. I did my best to smile. In fact, I remained as neutral as possible. In fact, I learned a technique from my polarity training sister, Heather Principe, back on Long Island. She said, if you want to help a person get through a situation, whether it's fear, anger, doubt, anxiety, whatever they say to you, do your best to listen distinctively and then repeat exactly what that person said to them. Why? They need to hear it coming back. Now, they don't need to hear it coming back the way that they dealt it out. And that's what I did. I didn't say anything negatively. I didn't curse at the person as they cursed at me. I didn't curse. I left the curse word out so they could hear the meat of the message that they were trying to curse me out with. And I noticed the person's body language shifted. And at the beginning, the person got angrier. But after about 30, 40 minutes of this, repeating exactly what they said, but in a very low tone, a very even temperament, and very direct but gentle, that individual switched. They realized they even got into cursing more, but they realized they had no control because I wasn't responding in the way they wanted me to respond. They wanted me to yell and flip out and scream and cry and all of that stuff. Why? I'm in a public establishment, a restaurant, a cafe that I enjoy going to. The owner doesn't know me, but he speaks to me. The waitresses know me. They call me by my first name. In fact, they address me as Reverend Francis. They know who I am. They don't know who she is. In fact, they don't even acknowledge her, other than she's just a customer having a bad day. So we have to learn how to respond differently. If you are a student of Tai Chi or Sanuka's rule, Jiu-Jitsu, late Moses Powell system, whatever you can do, you learn what spiraling effect does, what circling effect does, what rolling effect does. If you're a Kung Fu stylist, you learn how to walk the circle. That's the dragon energy, coiled energy, serpentine energy. And you learn how to dance the Tai Chi circle, that paisley shape, the line in between. I say this because we're in a world right now where we can let that external world suck us into a spiral, which in most cases looks like it's spiraling up, but it has to spiral down. It has to lose its force. We have to use our energy in such a way that we are freeing ourselves all the time. I'll say that again. We have to use our energy, our instinct, our intuition, our empathy in such a way, our psychicness in such a way that we go above and beyond what is being portrayed to us, and we're responding on a completely different level. So that means you're more than just a star seed. You're beyond being a star seed. You are being the seed, the germination, the roots, the foundation, and the fruit, and the source, which the fruit and the seed and all of that gathers the energy from. You become one with the source. In other words, you understand the code that belongs to the different aspects of things that are happening around you all the time. Oh, you're welcome. I had no idea what I was going to teach today. I'm using a lot of my notes from 2 years ago because I really didn't need to create something new. I need to bring back something that we all need to do. You see, the new earth is basically here. Those of us who are aware, we are issuing, we're playing, we're creating. We're not recreating, we are creating something new, a new paradigm for ourselves. And as we create the new paradigm for ourselves, what happens? You are aware that there are many, many beings, living things around you that has done it already. You will realize that you will have a dream or you will be asleep and you will see your future self already doing it. You'll see yourself in another timeline already doing it. You'll see yourself living your best life, so to speak, in another timeline. The thing is, let's merge them together. When you're thinking very positive, speaking very positive, highly of yourself, because that's important. We have to give ourselves a pep talk. When we can speak highly of ourselves, when we can shower ourselves with unconditional love, then we realize that grace is not out here, grace is inside. Everything that we're expressing lives infinitely forever on the inside. It is not in a physical form. It is a spirit, a living, moving spirit. You know, I'll give you another example. One of my friends is a bishop of his own church, which his father was a bishop and his father left behind. And it was interesting. You know, he was saying, someone asked the question, because they speak, but he's a metaphysical minister because he's into prophecies, you see. And he has a friend. His friend is this guy, E. Bernard Jordan, who is very deeply into prophetic stuff. But I bring this guy, my friend, Bishop Shamar Womack L., up because he said one day during his services, and I was glad I was there, he said, someone asked, who's the Holy Ghost? And what he did, he used the word Holy Ghost because he's a Pentecostalist minister, but he also threw this out to the congregation. He said, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And people said, wait a minute. For 20 years, I've been learning it's the Father, it's the Son, and the Holy Ghost. He corrected it and said Spirit. But this is what he added to it because he made it like a 2-3 part Sunday service, 3 Sundays in a row. And what did he say? He said the Holy Spirit is a person, it's in physical form. So, what was he hinting at? I understood it. What was he hinting at is you are a replication, you are a divine expression in action of the Father, Mother God energy, Goddess energy, and the Son or daughter. You are the seed, right, of that. And your expression becomes you as the Holy Spirit. What that means, if you can comprehend this, everything that you are saying goes beyond what you are believing. This is how you're going to marry your mind into direct connection when you establish that you are the Spirit, you are the Father God, Mother God, Son God, Daughter God, Holy Spirit, Holy. You're that. This is why people say you're not praying to something outside yourself. You're praying on what is on the inside of yourself. And to some degree, what you're praying to could be lying dormant inside of you until the right vibration and the right intention comes along and it's consistent. If the intention you have is consistent with your willpower, which is consistent with your unconditional love for yourself, which is consistent with the aegis of divine grace, which is consistent with your deep rooted patience, which then turns into what? Faith. What is faith? Faith is something that you know to be true. Why? Because you experienced it already. You're just trying to remember what it is that you experienced so that you can replicate that now. If you think about something long enough, you will pull it out of the ether, especially if you can feel it. You'll be able to pull it out of the ethers. Let me say that another way. Let's put Reverend Ike into the picture. The feeling gets the blessing. Not the thought is not going to get the reward. Is what you're feeling the whole time. Why? Because everything is in the ethers around you. You just have to crystallize it. So you have to bring it into crystallization. In other words, we shouldn't be even using the word manifestation. Why? Because you see MAN in there. Let me say that again. We shouldn't be using the word all the time, manifestation. Why? Because the word man is there. But what is the root of manifestation? Could you type it in? What is the root word of manifestation? Manifestation is the act of manifesting something to put it into motion into your life. But what you want to understand in the word man, the root of man in the man word is M-A, ma. Ma is short for mom, mother. But you can say next to manifestation, materialization. Now there's two things in that word materialization. Maybe three. Mater, realization, real. The mother makes it real. Mata is matrix. Matrix is womb. Womb makes it real. You can definitely replay this one. This one went an hour and soon an hour and 8 minutes. There it is. An hour and 8 minutes. I'm glad I stayed on here long enough to get this message. I'm happy that the higher self told me to pull out this from October the 13th of 2022 and to share this with you. Use this amongst your family and friends to see how they think about these things. It's all metaphysical, it's all spiritual. I remember giving one of my books to somebody, or wanted to. It was at a gas station up the road, about half a mile down the road. And the gentleman's wife, because they were Guyanese, the gentleman's wife asked me, was I Christian? Is this a Christian book? And I asked her, the telephone directory that you're using is not a Christian book. She said, that's not what I asked. I said, no, that's exactly what you asked. You asked me, was the book that I wanted to give you and your husband as a gift was Christian based. I said, you don't use every book in your life that's Christian based. And eventually her husband joined the conversation. He said, that's exactly what I've been trying to tell her for weeks. That every book we read, honey, is not a Christian based book. But in every book that we read, whether it's Christian based or not, there is speaking an element of divine consciousness, a spiritual awareness, a metaphysical teaching, something that can take us beyond the norm of where we are right now. And that's the goal of Clear Blue Radiance. Clear Blue Radiance is designed to take you beyond the norm, take you beyond what people expect you to be, take you to the door, take you up to the golden stair step into the door. You're the door where you fling open and you begin to observe everything going around you in greater detail. You begin to see and feel and sometimes taste the atmosphere. You can touch it, it touches your skin, and underneath is the nerves, nerve endings. You have to allow yourself to walk in to your divinity. Your divinity is not solely outside of yourself. Your divine nature exists within yourself. And that's where you're striving to be, is to go within in order to express it on the outside. In order to see it outside, we have to begin to feel it on the inside. We have to begin to reconcile with everything on the inside of us. And eventually we become us again. That's my message. How to marry the mind and heart for direct connections and clear communications. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I am the host, podcast creator of Clear Blue Radiance here on the Resonant Essentials YouTube channel. Take care of yourselves, be well, embrace yourself overwhelmingly with unconditional love, faith, trust, compassion, and the grace that is already inherent with you. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you soon, as my grace is always your grace. See you next Thursday. Have a great weekend.